Masters Tour continues here in Seoul, South Korea, as we get ready for our next match. Going into round number 6 of 7 today. Apologies for the very slow cadence. I'm trying to get in position. They're yelling at me, move closer to Derek Brown.
Are you ready, Daniel?
No, I don't think they're ready.
Should we get started?
No. You've got me getting started already.
Well then.
All right, well, sorry you had to see all that. I was supposed to be off camera. Round number 6 is about to begin here at the Hearthstone Masters Tour in Seoul, South Korea, where it is heating up, to say the least.
Almost after dark. Still light outside for a little bit longer. But
Is that sunlight outside right there?
I think so.
I thought that was like a.
I don't recognize it. I haven't seen it in
I thought that was
so
the
long.
studio. That's right. We're coming up on what, like the 7th or 8th hour of today of broadcast.
Yeah.
A lot of the players have been grinding through all the Swiss portion. If you guys want to follow along with us, battlefy.com/HS Esports. In fact, I think we have a standings update. So let's go ahead and check in on who is ahead, who is behind. We have a lot of players who are 5-0, but it's slowly thinning down. Zim, Yang, Bong, Goon, Tars, Casey, Suni, Deaddraw, Ghost, Staz, and topopablo and JS5 are the undefeated players, with Gallon having the best tiebreaker. You just saw him lose to Staz, so he lost an undefeated player. Physis Kings, Silver, General, Pilo, and Mago Ho.
Bit of an eclectic group, couple of GMs sprinkled in there with Casey in particular.
Yep.
I'm glad to see him doing well.
Some Hearthstone veterans
Exactly.
also in the mix. And then some players who I have no clue who they are.
Yes, I have not heard of a lot of those players, but Deaddraw, my fellow countryman from England, very happy to see him doing a little bit better, because he always does very, very well on ladder and seems to fall a little bit flat when it gets to the tournaments, but a very strong combo player in particular, so I'm excited to see him do well.
We're going to check in on Staz versus topopablo. We're usually following the winners in Swiss, given that there's more at stake with every win. You're trying to try to secure your spot in the playoffs. Players who are like 2 and 3 are effectively eliminated or around that range, so we tend to not show them. And some of them are tweeting about their 0-3 starts or their very poor records so far. But again, if you want to follow along with us, check out everything about Hearthstone at playhearthstone.com/esports. All right, so with that, topopablo, I haven't seen this guy since the championships a couple years ago, back when he was, I believe, competing at the fall championships, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I know him most in my experience from the Hearthstone Global Games last year. He was on the Chilean team, finished 8th after the group stage, a pretty reasonable position, given that they were a bit of an underdog compared to some of the real titans of Hearthstone like Germany and the USA.
Yeah.
But put up a very strong performance.
Definitely. I think Hearthstone Global Games has given us a lot of insight into players who we don't really expect to necessarily do well when you're matched up against like a Titan caliber player, and then you're like, oh, they know what they're doing. And that's kind of the beauty of some of these open competitions, right? The idea is that it's not just for high stakes and drama, but it's also a proving ground for many of these players that also want to show that they know a thing or two about Hearthstone.
It's true. And outside of the players who are expected to do well, the couple of GMs at 5-0 in Casey and Staz, most of the players who are the biggest favorites coming into the tournament have done, as you said, very poorly. I believe it was number 1 NA points last year, number 1 APAC points last year, and number 2 points for EU last year. Had a combined 1-18 record in Saiyan, Tyler, and Fino.
Yeah,
pretty yikes.
They all collectively won 1 game in
between
9
them,
series.
yes. And yet they racked up more points between them than probably anyone else in the world combined.
Yeah, it was very bad look. But, I don't think necessarily the reads are wrong, right? If you bring Mage seems to be a good deck, so you can't be necessarily incorrect for bringing that. And then Priest seemed to do very well, but Saiyan just got bopped. I don't know what exactly happened. I think some of them were saying that they lost to Reno Paladin. They're like, I don't know what happened. Sometimes you just get got.
Yeah.
I was playing a deck with Derek yesterday. It was in honor of a thread I saw on the Hearthstone subreddit, which was a Stone Tusk Boar OTK Paladin.
Yes.
And so what you do is you play Zephrys to get a Sorcerer's Apprentice, and you have a Faceless Manipulator, a Sound the Bells, and a Stone Tusk Boar. You get the Sorcerer's Apprentice from Zephrys, you Faceless Manipulator it, and then Sound the Bells is 0 mana and it's an Echo, so you just basically buff the Stone Tusk Boar for no 2K. I took this idea and tried to make Arena Paladin, and it was the worst Hearthstone deck of all time. It was so bad. But I won anyways because I just kind of curved out with random stuff. And I played Zephyrus, and I just had lethal.
Yeah, I mean, we figured out pretty quickly that when we played Prismatic Lens, it instantly destroyed our combo. It probably wasn't the way to go.
It made Sound the Bells cost 7 mana. I was like, well, I guess my OTK's dead.
I guess I'll die.
But I just won anyways. With exact lethal, because Stone Toe Sport got the 30th point in.
The power of garbage decks.
Well, what's really funny is the person added me afterwards and says, what the hell were you playing? And I looked over at Derek and I typed in right back, I don't know. I just played random stuff.
I know.
All right, let's go into the Hunter Mirror. Wow, we haven't seen this matchup in quite some time.
Ever. What has happened here? This is Reno Hunter, or I guess Bran Hunter, Singleton Hunter, whatever we're calling it at the moment. This is a deck that I predicted would be absolute rubbish.
Did you?
Yeah.
You really thought it would be that bad?
Yes. I thought the only build of Hunter you'd ever consider playing was Masters Tour Hunter.
Gotcha. I mean, I can definitely see why maybe at first glance, because Hunter tends to be much more effective as a streamlined deck,
right,
given that you want to focus its hero power damage.
Yeah.
I definitely thought Reno Mage was going to be a thing. I didn't think Reno Paladin was going to be a thing, but I did think Finley's effect is strong.
Yeah.
And then I thought Elise decks would be garbage as well.
But here we are with...
And Brand Hunter is actually very good.
Yeah, it is 2 players at 5-0. It's getting less and less players with that perfect record. One will have to fall here, but I think both players can hold their heads very high.
I think it's also maybe just a call to how strong the secret package is in general for Hunter, to give it a reliable early game.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that without it, it's very good otherwise. I tried playing Mech Death Rattle Brand Hunter, and it's really bad.
Yeah.
Very ineffective. But
Needs to go a little bit more aggressive early on.
Yeah. The secret allows you to play defensive, but also just gives you opportunity to fill the curve. And the best part is that it shores up one of the most awkward parts with the card draw aspect.
Yeah.
It's, Subject 9 and Mass Contender and all of them just pulls it out.
topopablo with a very difficult decision here, because clearly he would like to just go for secret, value trade, be in a fantastic position. However, with the addition of the recent pressure plate, when a spell is played, it will destroy one of your minions at random, which would mean he would lose face damage, not get the value trade, and that secret keeper could rapidly grow out of control.
Well, can you even value trade? Your opponent also has a secret keeper, so if you play your opponent also
you're
gets
right, I'm
buffed
being
too.
dumb. Yeah.
It's a very tough situation, because when you play secret, my secret keeper gets better. It's very weird. And I remember this dynamic existed in Secret Paladin back in the day. And it was just awkward back and forth. It was like the Spider-Man meme, where both of them are pointing at each other with secrets.
But slowly getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
All right, so we see the snipe. That's a very nice defusal on topopablo's side. Needs a little bit extra change here. So you could play Lynx and then coin, but then if it's a rat trap, whew. If it's a rat trap, he is very sad. I'm very curious about this 9 lives, by the way.
Yeah, what's he going to be looking to hit in the deck? Is he playing a strong death rattle package, or is it just to hit some of the more mid-rangey stuff?
I imagine that it's a deck that's perhaps more outfitted to beating mages, because the one thing that you want to do is be able to answer those big giant boards.
Yeah.
And so if you have the Spider Bomb in 9 lives and just repeatedly being able to smash in, destroy random enemy minions, that's probably topopablo's ways that go over the top of those mage decks.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, both these players are 5-0, so there's a reason why their decks are working. You don't just win 10 games accidentally here.
I know, and I think that's one of the things I'm realizing more and more, in that when you have a meta that's so homogenized with Mage and Warrior obviously coming out the top, and Mage really in particular dominating the meta, the deck does not have to have an exceptionally high power level if it's doing the right thing. It's survival of the fittest, right? It's not about the strongest or the fastest, it's the best adapted for this environment.
Very, very appropriate for a hunter Specifically, you know, the wild jungle tamer, dino tamer, whatever. Every card that topopablo's drawing is starting to like really intrigue me. He just plays his Reno Hunter very differently. He's got 9 lives, he's got Archmage Vargoth, but it makes sense. The package,
Vargoth 9 lives is pretty sick.
Yeah, it works together. So you play pretty much Spider Bomb. I would not want to put many other death rattles in the deck.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any strong, like individually strong death rattles for Hunter at the moment. There aren't many.
Ooh, Shadow or Death.
Probably taking
Shadow or
Brightwing.
Pain, excuse me. Do it! Do the Brightwing. Is that the noise the Brightwing makes?
It looks like he makes that noise. I've never actually played him or seen him played.
Are you sure Brightwing's a male?
Oh, I have no idea. Apologies.
I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Like I played some other games where there was some interesting like, oh, it turns out this character was like female, and I had no idea because I'm not very familiar with like creatures of the void.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I wasn't even aware that it had a gender. It was just like a beast or a thing to me. So
like turns out Samus, not a dude. Who would have thought
yeah.
it?
But kicks some major ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Jones.
That belongs in a museum.
You sure about that?
No, I'm not at all. Yeah. Now I don't know what to believe. Staz has the Snake Trap. Needs to just find ways to get to the Dino Tamer Bran, and he'll be good to go. Do you feel like this is just a Hunter's Pack turn here? Or would you rather just press in the damage?
Well, what's the alternative? Double Spring Paw Snake Trap Hero Power. It's not bad, right? Allows you to get in the rush to push the rest of the damage phase. It's definitely something to consider, because obviously with Dino Tamer Brand in hand, the major point of that card is to close out the game.
Yes, or at least to turn the corner and start closing the game. Because if you get the damage in, the opponent realizes, well, one, I have to deal with this immense amount of stats, but two, my opponent is in a position to hero power. And so I made this comment when I was patching with Gia. Part of what makes, in my opinion, Reno Hunter great is because of specifically Bran and the Queen Crush, but it almost kind of upgrades your hero power if you kind of think about it, because it's dealing a higher percentage of damage at that point in the game. And when you start off just like a normal curve hunter, you're dealing like 3 to 4% of their health, right, when you hero power every time. But when you like start doing like 8 to 10, it's like dealing like 5, 6, 7% of their health. It starts to get pretty nutty.
I thought you were going for the old argument of why Explorer's Hat was actually a nutty card, because it's basically like getting another hero power when you think about it.
Oh god, I hate that explanation. I'm just saying, like, you know, if you knock your opponent down to like 12 and then you hero power, it's like you're dealing 16% of their life every single time you hero power. It's kind of like you're upgraded to an incredible strength. And I think that's kind of the secret to why Brand is good, even though we didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
That's my theory. I'm not sure if it's true or not. Maybe I'm just trying to make sense of just nonsense.
No, I think it's very valid.
I'm the Hearthstone astrologist.
No. I think you've got some very good points. These aggressive builds of Hunter, like obviously, you know, thinking back to the old Face Hunter days, it was pretty clear that there was enough burst damage to kind of have that pseudo effect, right? Where when you played Lepanone 1-1, they were basically starting at 28 health. They just didn't have as much health to be working with, and it was really, really strong. And now it feels like an aggressive build of Hunter is just teetering on the edge of viability.
Yeah.
I know that Viper is a player who has been experimenting a lot with aggro Face Hunter builds.
I think aggression in general is just very good.
I think you're wrong and an idiot.
Well, screw you, you tosser. Is that appropriate to say in a broadcast? I don't know if the degree of severity of my aggressive words.
I think it's probably better to stay clear of that one.
All right, I don't know. I'm probably going to get a stern talking to later.
I mean, most English play school insults have their root in something extremely inappropriate.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, Staz gets the face damage in, and topopablo is dead. How about hero power doing 100% of the remaining one? Turns out it's pretty good.
Turns out if you play Brandon, your hero power literally wins the game on turn 2.
Staz is up 1-0 over topopablo, and I gotta say that Pablo's primary deck doesn't seem well fitted for the mirror, but I don't think most people anticipate Highlander Hunter to be super well represented. Therefore, games 2 and 3, I think topopablo should have much more game.
I agree. I think his build of the deck, like you said, with the slightly more anti-mage package with Spider Bomb and 9 lives, I think is very, very reasonable to go for. Because if you can just survive against 1 or 2 big threats early on, being able to push for lethal with your, as you said, your hero powers and Bran is the way you're going to be winning against mage. And I think it's a very consistent strategy against mage.
Yeah, I think that you know what do you want to put in though? Like I guess if you could choose what you want to put in, you put in things like flare and you put in like
For the mirror.
yeah, exactly. But I'm trying to think about like how did he outfit his decks? He probably had an anti-mage and then probably had like even more like anti-control warrior of some kind and then probably like anti-aggro. Is he turning to like an anti-aggro situation there, or is he trying to like be more aggressive himself instead of trying to have anti-aggro tools?
Honestly, I'm kind of theorizing here. I haven't really played against Reno Hunter all too much on ladder, and I haven't played the deck myself as of yet. But I don't know, after the performance it's having here, I might have to give it a little bit of a go tonight to find out what it's all about.
I mean, maybe you just go Did you see the series of Pikachu where he just had Octosari and Deathwing?
Yes,
and
I did.
Carry and Drake.
I was just looking at it like, what is happening? Am I actually awake right now?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're just in some fever dream in Masters Tour Seoul. Yeah, I don't know. I personally feel like if you do build a Highlander package, instead of trying to have like the right answers to stuff, maybe they have the right proactive plays to answer it. Which is why maybe the 9 lives makes more sense. Instead of just making it a reactive card, you can just try to use it to, you know, be more proactive. I mean, is he playing things like Snip Snap in his deck? I don't know. Maybe. That'd be pretty sweet. Given that 9 lives would allow you to summon minions and magnetize them too.
That's true. That would be pretty sick. I think there's a lot of stuff still to be explored with in Reno Hunter because it allows you to explore some of the underrated aspects of a class. Because obviously, when you're building a deck with a lot of 2-ofs, you want to focus it on one thing in particular and do that very, very well. Like Mech Hunter, you want to have all the mech synergies. In the Beast Hunter, you can obviously only include beasts. But I think in these Reno builds, you can have a lot more facets of the deck working in conjunction. Like you can have the 9 lives, the mechs, you can have the secrets as well, you can have some of the aggression, you can even have the healing from Ziliax as well. And I think, like you say, a little bit of a proactive playstyle from Hunter is what maybe made me underrate this deck in the first place.
That's fair. And we do see 2 of those Death Rattles in hand, Spider Bomb and Savannah Highmane.
Job's done.
Not sure why I hung on the Savannah so long there. Going to turn 2 though, there's no secret, but the Sunreaver Spy I think is still something that topopablo should consider playing here, just to fight for it.
I agree. Just want to be curving out like Staz did to him in the first game. Because this matchup, I think, the more I look at it, the more I realize it can be pretty volatile. Whoever pulls ahead at the start of the game, you're going to be struggling to come back against it unless you hit Zephrys pretty specifically to find a board throw.
Yeah. If you remember the days of Midrange Hunter 2, there's just that tipping point of too much health or too much damage you've taken. And then your opponent's just like constantly threatening to like close the game in 2 turns. And so you have to be extremely cautious of how that ends up panning out. Okay, so what's happening around us is that they're trying to seal off the sunlight from coming into the studio. They're trying to prevent us from being able to recognize what time of day it is.
Use a book to block out the sun. It sounds like a really bad knockoff Orwell novel.
A dystopian future where they block the sun with
literature.
That's right. They're going to take out all the clocks, cover all the windows, and truly make it the Hearthstone casino. You can't escape.
Why do you need light when you have the light of your iPad?
Yeah. All right. Oh, no. Okay, no, they're just They're actually just propping up part of the ceiling with it. Well, that doesn't exactly make me feel much better.
Oh, no, they're not blocking light. The house is just collapsing. My mistake.
Yes. They're basically just piecing together a way to keep the studio from caving in and killing us. All right, well,
topopablo being dead.
Yeah. Brings down the axe and chops down the Snip Snap. Oh, finds the Huffer.
Pretty important way to kill this off. 2 out of 3 times. He was pretty happy there in being able to kill off the Helmos Jewel, which I think was pretty important. Like rushing Stranglethorn Tigers, if you're value trading in this matchup, I'm getting the impression that is very often going to put you in a really good spot in terms of board control. There's not as much AoE to swing things back.
We see Unleash the Beast, and if you get it a turn earlier, seems very effective.
Dynatamer Brand we found now, though, could be the extra little something that tips the scales in topopablo's favor.
topopablo seems to have a lot more of a traditional mid-range.
It's true, yeah.
Where it just has like solid, thick minions to play. I mean, he's got a really good 5, 6, 7.
Eat your heart out, Lotheb, mysterious challenger, Dr. Boom.
Oh man. Mysterious Challenger in this deck would actually be super nutty. I mean...
Yeah, that... Well, yes.
Just pure ridiculous.
I wonder...
So Bob, think about it, if he wants to swing, chooses not to. He's not afraid of anything.
I mean, I guess his conclusion is even if a secret is played, which it doesn't seem like it will be because it hasn't thus far, he can still kill it. And health is not the biggest consideration when he has the Ziliax.
Unless he picks up a freezing trap. But it would have to be drawn off the top.
Yeah. Unity, precision,
It's maybe enough to disrupt the curve at the top of Pablo, kind of forcing him into his Ziliax instead.
Yeah, the Ziliax does look good here from topopablo.
Alternatively, you could just tank it, go for Savannah high main this turn, but with the amount of damage that's chunking, he may then have to be forced to not play Bran on curve, which I would argue is a much bigger concession than not playing the high main on curve.
Yeah.
unity, precision.
I think the deviation here is more than warranted. topopablo even going for the Secret Keeper snipes to try to see if Ziliax can stay alive beyond one tap.
All the secret synergies.
Yeah.
No secrets.
So that's something that I feel like is a legit concern for Highlander Hunter, which is like, if you don't get the synergies, it feels like it just plays very weak.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, the spear's not bad.
So Desert Spear is solid, although I'm starting to realize that Staz might be in trouble once the brand hits the board.
With the Ziliax gone, he is going to start dying very, very quickly.
And that's 13 damage. You put your opponent down to 17. At the very least. I mean, he might take more if he just swings into this Ziliax. Goes down to 27. Takes 13. He's at 14.
Still just can't believe that in a sea of mages, this is what we're looking at the highest seed so far in the tournament.
Right.
Boggles the mind.
Well, to be fair, topopablo's tiebreakers are one of the weakest as the 5-0, which is fairly relevant.
Absolutely.
Time with Team Bran! Yes! Alright, Staz. Well, I mean, he has stuff to do, but looks like he's kind of dead.
Summary of my life. I have things to do, but I'm just kind of dead.
To me, IRL.
I wonder.
Leroy clears this with the Locust attack as well.
I was worrying if he could have bluffed the explosive trap there by lowering the health on the Tiger. Maybe could have got him a bit of health, because something like a miracle has to happen here for him to win this game. And so I wonder if that was maybe the best way to try and fool his opponent into a win.
Still can.
He still can. Yeah, that's true.
But you have to kind of play that fast.
Yes.
You want to you just want to play the rat trap immediately and then just
stare them in the eyes from across the monitor.
That's right. They are sitting, reasonably close at the featured stations. Oh, he's doing it.
I like this a lot. I think this is very brave. And this is the kind of thing that he has to do to win this game.
Yeah.
topopablo here is thinking, it's never, ever, ever explosive trap. But what if it's explosive trap?
It's really not explosive trap, but it could be explosive trap.
I won.
We know that he very much has lethal. And he's going to think about if there's any way to play around it.
Does Volpera Scoundrel get him anything? Like he could get...
Flare.
Yeah, or give invulnerability to one of his...
Oh,
Beast, right? Like
Bestial Wrath.
Bestial Wrath.
Wow, we might see the first application of that card. I mean, if he also just attacks into this and just plays Savannah High Main, he's good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's almost definitely winning there every time, and there we go.
He's like, oh. Okay.
Probably overthought that one a little bit.
Nah, it's scary, you know? It's, you
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah.
make a mistake. You're at 5-0. If you lose here, you're out of the series. topopablo strikes back.
Going into our third game in Reno Hunter Mirror. Not a sentence I thought I'd be saying here, but it's going to be all down to this one. I'm excited to see how the different lists line up. The slightly more mid-rangey deck for topopablo. Like, I would say that probably I'd put Staz at a slight advantage overall, given that he has more aggressive options, it seems like. But if topopablo can withstand the early aggression, that's when he'll start to shine.
Yeah, you know, I've been very impressed with how the secrets work really nicely with the Hyena, as well as just getting like early game tempo with the Sunreaver Spy, as well as the Mass Contender. So I think that you know, Secret Hunter has generally been the more aggressive version of Hunter compared to mid-range Hunter. If you go back to Rise of Shadows, Secret Hunter had this like weird place in the metagame where it was like faster than Death Rattle Hunter or Mech Hunter and faster than mid-range Hunter, so it was like good versus them. But it was just like a lot worse against like Warrior. So it was like a weird way that you can like find a nice pocket to climb to top legend.
Yeah, I think it's in a reasonable spot now, especially as we've seen the weakness, again, of Mage and Aggression. If you go a little bit aggressive early on with the secrets, they really struggle, especially with Pressure Plate thrown in there as well now. I'm curious to see how this will match up against Warriors in particular. I'm not entirely sure what that one would be like.
Well, so I think against Warriors, when you play like the Death Rattle package with Savannah High Mains and
That's true.
9 lives, it probably gives you that way for you to push past these really annoying plays. Some Warriors, for example, they just like playing really slow and defensive stuff, so then you just play Savannah High Main 9 lives and you just crush them.
Yeah. Bran.
Crush them. And then, if you go into other matchups, you still have like the flexibility of going your secondary and tertiary deck. So I think it's really good. I think it works out.
Taking a look at the standings again now after some of the players have finished their round 5 match. Zim still sticking right at the top of the table. Not a player I'm all too familiar with. I don't know about you. But Casey as well, also at that 6-0 record.
Yeah. Shout out to Tars, also 5-0. The reason why the standings look this way is because it depends on some of the tiebreakers and based on how the round 6 finishes. We do see some players moving up. Another player from Latin America, Empanizado, who made it to the championship before, cracking a top 16.
Suni there, as we saw with his pretty cool priest deck, his combo priest up against his friend Physics King. Physics King. Yeah, I wasn't sure what his epithet was with Physics. But, he's the king of it, and he's unfortunately not the king of priest right now. But they're both still doing pretty well.
I mean, he has the play of the day with
he
the
does
Northshire
absolutely
Cleric, where me and you are in the back room just like this just play Circle of Healing and go for it.
He just wins, yeah.
And that was sick. That was the coolest play of the day for sure. All right, we're gonna go into game number 3 momentarily here between Staz and topopablo. What's on deck here for either player? They're going to switch decks.
I imagine probably more of the same thing heading into game 3. The aggression from Staz, for the most part, I think, should be enough to get him through to a victory.
Agreed. If I was playing in this situation, I'd probably just yell really loudly of like what deck I'm probably going to play.
Glad I'm not playing my tertiary right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're sitting right next to each other.
Yeah.
Obviously with a screen divider, which they put up with their folders. like in grade school, where you just put up your work, you fold the folder in an indiscreet way, and you like hunch over.
That was the greatest application of my height, was being able to peek over the top and see.
Were you always this tall?
I've always been relatively lanky. Yeah.
Gotcha. Just out the womb.
Out the womb,
A
like
solid
like
190
a noodle.
centimeter.
Yeah.
You just slid out.
Jesus, Dan. Mm.
Well, I'm never gonna sit next to you if we ever play a Hearthstone tournament. That's for sure. Going on to game number 3 here. Staz has the Flare tracking Animal Companion, so he has proactive play with the Animal Companion. I kind of wonder how much he values this Flare, given that it is a secret openings on both sides.
Yeah.
Do you think it's important to have, or do you feel like because you're going first, because you want to be proactive in matchups, don't keep the Flare?
Wow, he's not keeping it. I was going to say you absolutely keep it. Like, I get that you can still lose to a lot of early aggression, but the more I'm looking at this Hunter deck, the more I'm realizing that the best proactive plays, aside from Animal Companion, all revolve around secrets. It's Secret Keeper, Sunreaver Spy, Hyena Alpha. They all need secrets, and you can just get rid of them so easily with the Flare.
It's true. And also you can just kind of push through all the garbage.
Right,
You have to waft through, or wade through rather, waft. I mean,
You may have to waft
it
as
does
well.
smell a little bad too,
Yeah.
if you ask me. Just, you know, all the rats and all the
Snakes.
dead carcasses of snakes.
Yeah, you always see the initial effect of the snake trap. You never see the aftermath, the cleanup.
When you coin out Zephyrs, does it give you Swords Apprentice here? It doesn't. It gives you Fairy Dragon and Backstab. Okay, I was just thinking about the Swords Apprentice.
Maybe that would be the third option if it was a clear board and backstab.
Right, yeah,
wasn't
exactly.
possible.
That probably makes sense. Fairy Dragon, Loot Hoarder, Sork. Pressure Plate. Try to stop topopablo's development. He's got nothing here on 2. Just goes to show you that Zephyrus being a valuable 2-drop just to answer your opponent. But hey, 3 damage is 3 damage.
Yeah, this was pretty nuts. Like, basically just like a 2-mana SI7 agent, I felt like it in the Zephyrus. And allowing him to push face is super important.
Yeah, that's a really good point. 2 mana SI7. All right, let's find the perfect card here for this spot. There really isn't with the Scoundrel.
I think just push face and Eagle Horn Bow face as well, right? Like, you can start to push a lot of damage here, and there's not that much that Staz can come back with.
Yeah, I just like the Scoundrel because it just has board presence.
Guess
But
so.
you're probably right.
I guess
to
the
push
hand
damage.
doesn't necessarily lend itself all too well. It's just that you got Mark Shot next turn that you can clear it off with, right, and then keep pushing face again.
I wonder.
Yeah, if the 2/4 didn't challenge the 3/2 so cleanly from Staz's end, I'd
Yeah, I
probably
guess so.
want to.
I guess so.
Hunting Party, Revenge of the Wild, Deadly Shot.
Cycles quickly.
I think Deadly Shot is better than a random Hunter spell.
I would say so.
There's some pretty big stinkers.
Deadly Shot is one of the higher power level cards for the spells that you can get. Leroy Jenkins, Mark Shot, Spring Paw. It might not be a game where Staz is on the proactive side, so he might have to use reactive cards like Spring Paw and Mark Shot as opposed to Leroy.
Yeah, he really wants to start using his mana a bit more efficiently,
wait,
though, I think.
he
so, like,
has-
Snip Snap on this turn.
Well, he has the Leok already, so Spring Paw is a lot better.
That's true, yeah. Leo, Spring Paw gets very good. I wonder if he'd even go for it, though. Like, he can clear off the board, but he can go Snip Snap on this turn, which is better mana utilization, and then clear up next turn. I guess this is still fine.
Yeah, getting the second secret down is fairly important because it still messes with topopablo's head.
Yes, it does.
The Mark Shot, for example, is a pressure plate. I mean, he's gonna if he plays Mark Shot, he loses the board. Staz takes initiative.
I think he's got to start using his spells at some point. Right? Like, it's better than getting your Wyvern hit with the pressure plate.
A flare.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh my
Wow,
goodness.
okay, yeah, this is getting nice for Staz now.
What a good draw. And then snip snap. I mean, his hand follow-up is not that great, but
Yeah, it's miserable.
but the fact that he can grab the board is still important.
Wow, even trying to weave in these hero powers. Now, I guess it gives him a play for next turn, right? A double snip snap.
Right, as opposed to just
makes sense.
potentially drawing air.
Yeah.
Very dragon. Wow, it is absolutely anti-mage.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Topopablo has a lot of value. If it came down to a resource war, he'd have this down pat. It's all about whether or not he can afford to take this much damage, and I really don't think he can. So I'm in favor of doing anything to stay alive and get to Bran.
But then you need to think about what most heavily complements Bran. Is it necessarily playing as defensively as possible and then trying to swing back the board? Or is it going Eaglehorn Bow, hero power, hit face, and trying to just race your opponent here? Like, that's 10 damage you can get over the next couple of turns, and Bran is almost lethal then.
It's true. I do like that, actually. Yeah, maybe you just go face.
Yeah.
The weapon. Go face, unleash the beast, and then drop the B-Daddy. Snip snap. Ursatron's a pretty good pickup for Staz as well, in the sense that it helps him get to the Zilliax.
That's a good point, yeah. Is he playing any other mechs in the deck, or is it just to shoot out the Snip Snap and the Zillion?
I think it's just those three.
Yeah.
Generally, the Highlander situation is you play like one or two. You play at one tutor card, and then you have like 2 or 3 at most.
Yeah.
For example, in Reno Mage, you play Sandbinder, and then you have both Zephyrus and Siamon as elementals that you can draw.
That's true, yeah. Or the secret drawing spell as well, when you then play Flame Ward and Ice Barrier.
So having cards that like tutor for specifically, usually like 2 or 3 cards.
Because you want to hit the powerhouses every time.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. 15. Get into the brand portion. And that's where the Zilliax is fairly important. Also, partially why I wanted Ursatron to see some play here.
You can see where Staz's head is at, though, right? Like, he has such little value in hand. He needs to eke out everything he can. Like, if he goes for the Ursatron and gets Zilliax, he's still not necessarily winning because he might just lose on value at that point.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think I like taking it a little bit slower. Because if Bran comes down on this turn, he can still trade away, get the Zilliax, heal back up.
Precisely. And Topopablo now sees Ursatron, knows exactly that's the possibility. He's going for it anyways.
Well, what's the alternative, right? If he hero powers, swings face, that's down to 10, which means he can't fit in a hero power next turn.
Yes, the Snip Snap setup here from Staz is actually fairly brilliant. Because he took it so slow, he sets up a sturdy board. It's actually very hard for Topopablo to justify anything but racing. Because if he plays it slow, like by trying to react to the board, he's playing directly into Staz's hand, which is do a little bit of damage and take a good trade every turn. So I really love the way Staz has played this game.
It's worked out very nicely for him. It was very, very well done.
I mean, he was a guy that was jamming a lot of Hunter in Grandmasters.
He was.
For better or for worse. Some weeks it did not work out at all. But I think he learned a lot about the nuances of the deck.
Well, I think it was actually usually working out in his favor. It was when he deviated from his comfort pick of Hunter that things tended to go wrong, from where I remember. But yeah, Hunter is absolutely where he feels most at home.
To the face. 3, 6, 8, 10. I was like, if he picks up Brand, he actually just wins. All right, well, you pick up Zilliax. You kill off King Crush, and you get to 9 life. You push 5, and then you can hero power, go to 7, put your opponent down at 11. You have a fairly dominant board position. Your opponent just played Bran. I mean, it looks really good. It looks really good.
And it's pretty amazing that Staz has managed to turn this around. He was looking in a dreadful position a few turns ago.
Agreed.
Unity. Precision. Reflection.
But this is just absolutely the song we needed.
The Zilliax Snip Snap has been something that's so good, and I've gotten burned so many times just in the past day.
Yeah.
Snipe here instead. He wants to keep his board position as strong as possible.
Does mean that topopablo has the ability to try and nail the deadly shot as well, which would definitely not lock him out the game. Like if he gets the dream with deadly shot and then picked up kill command. Oh no, wait, there's no beast in play. It wouldn't have quite been lethal.
Flare here seems really good. Oh man. Wait.
Copy a beast in your hand. Another hyena alpha.
Or Subject 9.
Or a subject 9, yeah, that's not what you're looking for at all.
He has big combos. topopablo's playing a combo hunter deck. What?
Yeah,
I wonder.
I'm still yet to be convinced on this Reno Hunter, but it's doing something right.
I mean, do you just let her rip with the deadly shot, a 1-3?
I don't think you have much
You
other choice, right? You could give him the 5
could.
heal with Unleash the Beast.
Yeah, Unleash the Beast, but it's like you said, it's a losing proposition. Do you feel like your chances of winning this game are higher than 33%?
Backwards quickly.
If you go for the Unleash the Beast? I don't think so.
I don't think so, no.
He has 2 tries. No. 50-50.
I mean, I guess that's the best result if you miss the first time.
Okay.
That's the good one.
It's a good one, but still...
I mean, there's no heal. He's not dead next turn unless we find a Bran.
Wow, I'm actually kind of surprised by that attack. Instead of like pushing face damage. Put it down to 7.
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess 7 isn't a range that he can still kill.
Well, it would be, right? Hyena Alpha, Kill Command, Hero Power.
Oh, sorry, with his current hand.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
You're correct.
No, you're right. No, you're right. Say it back.
I'm right. Or you're right.
Yes.
I wonder.
You're all right.
Thank you. So, Staz has very slow plays with Desert Spear. Desert Spear is more of a slow incremental advantage. Over the course of 3 turns, Desert Spear can deal 3 damage.
Backwards quickly.
I think I like Master Shaw. I want to bump.
Yeah, I like weaving in the Hero Power.
I want to hero power so bad.
It's a pretty important
I
minion to
think
kill.
he also wants to play Snipe.
He prioritized Secret last turn as well over the Hero Power, and I don't know if I like it. Yeah. You start closing things out.
It's the same with topopablo. I kind of wish he went for a hero power too.
And so now Subject 9, I guess, is his best option here, unless...
Might be Unleash the Beast, but from a statistics point of view, but I don't know if it's that good. Subject 9 is definitely something good because it'll get him closer to the cards he needs to get to.
Right, for sure.
I agree with that. I like that. Well. Yeah, from a outside perspective, like Subject 9 is just increases the best plays for the following turn.
Yeah.
Oh,
Whole lot of thinning of the deck here.
yeah.
But what's the actual way to go?
All right, I thought he had like a explosive trap or something to play, but he does not. So in this case, is it like, I think it might be like pressure plate and freezing trap, things that like impact the board the most? Because I just want to stop Staz from being able to kill me.
Yeah, I guess so. The most removally ones.
Snake Trap and Snipe were not the ones I was thinking about.
I mean, to be honest, I think outside of Rat Trap, which I think was probably the worst one to be playing there, they were all pretty close in that they probably prevent some damage to face.
This is lethal? Yes, it is.
5. Yes, it is just lethal.
But now can Staz figure it out? Or...
Because the Rhino survives.
Yeah, so this is a really tense position. If Staz guesses wrong on these secrets, like if Freezing Trap or anything like that, he actually just gives up the game.
It's so easy to guess wrong, though, is right. And maybe this is the benefit of topopablo's plays, is it wasn't the secrets you'd expect to be played.
Oh, yes.
So you're kind of having to play around 2 sets, right?
Right.
And Staz misses it.
But he does have Rush from Houndmaster Shaw.
Yes.
3, 5, 8, 10 damage now. Very close. Okay.
Moves quickly.
So we trade these minions into the Subject 9. You play Desert Spear, you play Tundra Rhino, and you play Steel.
So it's not playing any spells, so you're not weak to Pressure Plate.
Yes. I think Tundra Rhino here is fairly important. Does he have time? Does he have time?
It looks like he might have missed it. His body language is not happy.
No attack. That's a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
What? Got to move faster.
That's been the biggest enemy of Staz consistently in Grandmasters. He's just been leaving these difficult decisions until too late.
Yes.
And it's difficult to fault him because we know how tough it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation. He had lethal, obviously,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's like, how do you best play around the likelihood of the suite of secrets?
Yeah. topopablo really just needs to try and use his incredible card advantage here to try and push this to a win. And he just needs to stabilize his life total to do so. He's a zilliax away from winning this one.
Moves quickly.
Oh my goodness, I'm starting to realize that Staz missing that 2 damage means that he can't win next turn.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is he hoping to go for Freezing Trap? Because he'll realize that the Desert Locust will take care of that.
Oh. Flare. All secrets that topopablo have will be destroyed. What's he draw? Is that a life drinker?
What?
Did he just win the game?
Oh my god, that's lethal. That's exact lethal.
Wow.
That is unbelievable.
Super close series, nail biter back and forth. Staz edges out topopablo by the hair of his chinny chin chin.
A very close one indeed. And I think Staz, you know, as we predicted, felt like he was at a little bit of an advantage there. I think
Wow.
topopablo's deck, having seen a bit more of it even with the ability to copy beasts in his hand, feels like a little bit combo-oriented, a little bit too value-oriented perhaps.
It seems
not
like
a tempo matchup.
incredibly complex matchup when it starts
really
getting to the
does.
secrets in the last bits, because you have to like figure out how much damage you have to squeeze versus sacrifice, and also try to fight for the board. So yeah, I don't know really how to go about breaking down that game, but the one thing that I want to say is play faster, please.
Yes, you will
Play
lose
faster.
less games, and you will do it quicker as well.
Yes,
It's
that's
a
right.
win-win.
All right, so I think that does it for the beginning of round 6. We're going to provide some extra coverage for Around the Tavern as well. I'm going to show you who is also doing well throughout the 6th round of Swiss. And then we're going to do round number 7, and then we're going to call it the end for day number 1. Derek, we're almost done with the first day of competition, man.
We are. It's been a bit of an upset from what I was expecting. A lot of the real peak performing players from last year doing very, very poorly indeed here at Grandmasters Seoul. Sorry, at Masters Tour Seoul. But a lot of upsets as well in terms of the players I didn't expect, or the decks I didn't expect, doing really well, which I'm happy about. I'm glad it's not just mage dominance all the way through. Like the
it
players
really
who are
isn't.
innovating
Yeah.
seem to be doing very well.
Well, mages are still doing fairly decently, but decent is the right word because I believe they were very close to just 50% win rate.
Right. And they made up like 30% of the field, right?
They made up over 50% of the field.
Over 50% of the field, really? Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We have like
Misread
250
that one.
players and like 100 are mages. We're going to take a break. Derek and I are going to get even closer off camera. Don't go anywhere. More Hearthstone Masters Tour action when we return.